food or water, with nowhere to sleep. Been ridiculed and abused, wrongfully accused. What more can they do to me? What more can they do to me? I've been locked out with no reason why. Had to look straight into my enemy's eyes. Been stripped from my head to my toes. Nobody seems to know. What more can they do to me? What more can they do to me? Took the heart you beat with, and they tore it down. They threw your dignity on the ground. They're too afraid and alone. The truth is still unknown. What more can they do to you? What more can they do to you? You chose not to react. You chose to stay strong, baby, stay strong, baby, stay strong, baby. And when they take everything away, still forgiveness you pray, you pray, you pray. And what more can they take away? The desert in my bare feet, with no food or water, with nowhere to sleep.
Greetings. Once again, the Get To Free Press, George Balster Rhines, report what others ignore. Yesterday I arrived in Jessup, Georgia for the case of Douglas Commissioner Olivia Pearson. And I must tell you that I had put 2 requests in to the Honorable Judge Andrew or Andy Spivey and the District Attorney of Coffee County, and 2 copies to the Wayne County City Clerk, as I did with the Coffee County Clerk. I got a certified fax back, which means they received it but did not act upon it. And so when I went in the courtroom, and knowing that they were going to ignore me, I mentioned to the district attorney what happened to my request. He said the judge will take it up this morning, and true enough, Judge Andrew Spivey did just that, and he said that he received no such request, therefore he could not consider one. Being the person that I am with the experience of filing a simple Rule 22 request from Thomasville, Georgia, over to Warrington, Georgia, and all in between, I'm well experienced, if not over experienced, on trying to get into the courtroom to report what the mainstream news media will not report, because they are not concerned about the news in the black community, especially when it comes down to this Georgia pattern, practice, if not conspiracy, to first of all intimidate, suppress, control, stop, and then remove blacks from office through and by any means necessary, including the district attorneys and certain judges, removing them. This has been over documented. CNN, MSNBC, 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, Congressional Black Caucus, and others, you know. Al Sharpton, the Department of Justice. You know this. If you Google the Quitman 10+2, that's one of many cases to prove if America was really serious about the black man, woman, and their children voting in elections while their sons and daughters and mothers and sisters and brothers wear the uniform in the Navy, the Army, the Coast Guard, Marines, and in other branches of the armed forces, some of them classified that you don't even know about. But they do not report the real cutting-edge news in the black community, and not only do I know it, and other blacks, white right people know it as well. So, I want you to know this morning that I was in the courtroom. Judge Spivey told me before the court, well, he didn't tell me, he just said it to the court, that he never received such a request, and therefore he could not honor such a request. I raised my hand to the judge. I raised my hand to the judge, and he acknowledged me. Then he said, come up and take an oath for the record. And I did just that. I just said to the Honorable Judge Andrew Spivey that I know how to file a simple Rule 22. Don't make me look like that in front of all those people who already know me. It was like he didn't even understand that people knew my reputation and what I do, and that I got 1,400,000 views around the world. I've been all the way up to Georgia Court of Appeals with the mayor in Gordon, Georgia, with Mary Ann Whippaloo. And I filed it the same way I filed it in Coffee County and Wayne County. The same identical way. And notarized, I might add. Notarized, I might add, Judge Spivey. So Judge Spivey have proven, along with the district attorney in Coffee County, that they do not want what they do in the courtroom exposed to the general public. I'm going to say it again. I can show that Judge Spivey and the district attorney ignore every request that I put before them to be in the courtroom on this most disgraceful, and I do mean disgraceful, charges they brought up on Olivia Pearson and 4 others, I might add, because really there was 5 people charged, or 3 of them boogied out, And I understand there was another they didn't even take, and that was a Republican, of course, because the rest of them were Democrat. But see, you don't know nothing about that. You don't know a thing about it for the most part, because your news media, mainstream that is, they don't want you to know it. They want to keep you deaf, dumb, and blind to the times and unable to make intelligent decisions based on facts. Now, Olivia Pearson was found not guilty yesterday by a jury. I'm going to talk about that jury selection too. 37 people was called. And I'm going to tell you how many were chosen that were black. And they had 2 alternates in the final selection. And even one of the blacks was chosen as an alternate. But nevertheless, it took that jury less than 30 minutes. We stayed late last night. I'm telling you, y'all, you can sit back and criticize me about what I'm doing. It's okay, because I understand. Oh yeah, I understand. But I want to say this to you. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a thorough video. And not only am I going to do a video about what happened last night, it's going to be in depth. I'm going to also show the first request I did to Judge Spivey to be in the courtroom. And when I got over there, the clerk of the court said she didn't even receive the information I sent to them. So I had a copy with me. The judge asked me, well, do you have a copy? I said, yes. And I took it over to, make a long story short, they let me in that court case, the first one, but I did do it right, just like I did everywhere else. And so for some reason, he let me in, and it was a mistrial. Then he gave me an order. I got all this recorded. It's already posted. No, it's not posted because he wouldn't let me, but I'm going to post it in a few days. And so he gave me an order not to post it because there may be a retrial, and there was. But that first court case with a mistrial, I want you to know, one of the black jurors called me and wanted to tell her story about the racism in the judicial system, in the jury room during deliberations. Now, I never published that. I never published a video, and I never published this juror's statement. But guess what? Coming soon is coming. I'm going to post it because you need to know what these white right people, no, not white right people, what these white wrong people are doing to reinstitute, and judges are being used. District attorneys are proving themselves not only before black folk, but before white folk too. Now, don't you know that 2 or 3 blacks on a 12-panel jury could not free Olivia Pearson? And this is what I want black folk to understand. As these racist white people, as these one-sided white people, as these Christian white people decide these cases and take them before a jury, they underestimate that there are a lot of good white people. All white people are not members of their lodge, are not members of their clan, are not members of the clique and among the slicks. They want to live up to the founding fathers of this great republic. So I say to black people, I've been saying it for a long time, you better stop hating on white folk, man. You better stop hating on white folk. Don't hate on black, don't hate nobody. But you better start looking and calling out these Uncle Toms and Aunt Janes. That's who you better be concerned about. Yeah. In fact, Olivia Pearson had white attorneys. Yeah, white attorneys from the Poverty Law Firm. And I got the greatest respect for them, not because of this, but because other historic landmark cases that they have taken. Y'all excuse me, I'm getting beside myself. I close this out by saying to you, all the other people that were brought up on these bogus fraud charges plea bargained, and now they got a criminal record. Yeah, they got a criminal record. But this woman, this black commissioner, in Douglas who followed the footsteps of her mother, I'm told, was respected and exonerated once again. And you've seen her talk about how the news media fought her, lied on her, and the district attorney, from what I'm told, really, I'll say that for another day. And Judge Spivey, I've already said it on the video previously, even before yesterday, that he really should have recused himself from this case. And I'm going to say it again. That's my opinion. I got one. And I served this country for 20 years, for whatever it means. Apparently not a damn thing. But I served during the Vietnam era, only to be used by God to help expose the wicked white people and wicked black folk in disguise of Uncle Toms and Aunt James. And I'm going to continue to do it because I love this country. And I took an oath and obligation. I am an American fighting man, prepared to give my life in the defense of this country. I will not accept payroll, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I am obligated still to defend this country from both foreign and domestic enemies. That means the enemies in the courtroom. If you wear a black robe and if you're a judge and if you do not want the press in these meetings, then you are my enemies. And you are the enemies of the founding fathers of this great republic. And you're a disgrace. Yes. You wear a robe and I'm going to respect you because I'm obligated to. But above that, St. John 8:32 say, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set you free. Now, if there's anything on this video that anybody can condemn me on, I'm asking you to see me, visit me. Let's sit down in front of the camera and let's debate as real, upright men on the square and have an equilibrium of dialogue before the people so they can see who's telling the truth and who is from the house of lies. Again, Olivia Pearson found not guilty last night in a court of law, not in Coffee County because they had to move the case from Coffee County for reasons unknown to many. Way over to Jessup, Georgia. Way over to Jessup, Georgia. Personally, I think they thought that they were going to do another Madison, Florida 9 on those black folk that they did on the black folks in Madison. They've tried it on Olivia Pearson. They tried to do the same thing they did to the Equipment 10+2 in Brooks County along the lines of voting rights and voter suppression. State of Georgia charged them 119 to 200 voter fraud charges, only to drop them 4 years later. And that was the most disgraceful court case and voting rights case ever been in the United States of America. But 60 Minutes wasn't there. MSNBC, Dateline, and Your Line wasn't there. And the local news media in South Georgia, when the verdict came down, not a one was in the courtroom. And when they called them outside the court, not a one came. And I'm going to continue to say it because Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And so as these white folk continue doing what they're doing, you black man, you white right people, you got to do what you do to save this republic from itself before it destroys itself. Now, I'm going to get to work. I got to be at a meeting at 12:30 today at the School Board of Education here in Valdosta, Georgia. I just got back late last night, so I just want to do this video to let you all know that once again, the same thing that these white people did in Madison, Florida, Equipment 10+2 in Equipment in Brooks County, what they did against Linda Harris, remove her from office in Meigs, Georgia. The same thing happened in Camilla, Georgia. The same thing happens in Lumpkin, Georgia, with former Mayor Charles Gibson. Move on round to Dawson, Georgia. Move on round to Clayton County voter election case. Move on round to Warrenton, Georgia, with George Ivey. Move on round to Sandersville, Georgia. Move on round to Sparks and Hancock County, an all-white voter register board right there. They called hell and high water over there. But thank God the New York Times came down and report what Georgia news media would not report. Y'all better wake up. See, the news media refused to do and report the news in the black community. But look, one thing the newspaper and television don't understand is the same how you ignore all these cases and ignore black cases. One day you're going to find out you ain't going to have no news media to report in your studio, or they're going to shut you down too. And you're going to reap just what you have sown by not reporting the news. Wait a minute, I haven't finished yet. Then come on around to Gordon, Georgia. Don't stop there. Marianne Whippaloo. That was the most disgraceful bunch of white folks and Uncle Toms and Aunt Janes I'd ever seen. I covered all these areas and I connected the dots, but not one United States of America news media, let me repeat, not one United States news media outlet or a congressperson or a political party, Democrat, Green Party, Republican, have connected the dots like I have about all these black elected officials that are catching hell on the backside of heaven and won't nobody publish their cases. And when I publish it, they label me because they know I look like one of the founding fathers of this great republic and that I love this nation as a military veteran. And that's why I tell and do what I do. And this is why some white folks embrace me and try their best to give me a little gas money every now and then. But won't nobody support you for the most part when you do this. But I don't care if they don't report me. I love this country so much. If I could put my life on the line, willing to go to the wars of this nation and die for this nation, should I not stand up for you, your mother, your brother, your sister, your brother, your enemies down the street, and my own grandchildren? I'm not that big a fool to go overseas and willing to die over there, then come all these damn veterans right here know this going on. Them damn veterans won't say a damn thing. They sit there like, don't say nothing. Yet they was willing to die. Some of them got wounds in their bodies. When they get back home, they're too scared to stand up and fight for what is right. They'll sit at McDonald's and they'll criticize you when you stand up. But they won't stand up themselves and don't have nothing good to say about the people who are fighting for their rights as the other black and white right peoples and Americans of yesterday did, so we can have the little rights that we have, although they are eroding. And when all your rights are gone, you're going to catch hell then. What you gonna say then? Veterans, just sit, say, and do nothing. Let me finish, y'all, excuse me. Come around to Willacoochee, Georgia, where the white mayor, I was told, you can watch this on the video, I didn't talk, paying black folks to vote for him, riding around in a state representative car campaigning. Now wait a minute, those are not my words, that's already been documented. Come on around to Baxley, Georgia. President taking on $450,000 missing the district attorney, same district attorney I'm told. Well, let me leave that alone. You know, no, I can't. Let me go further. They hadn't had an audit. You're supposed to have yearly audits over there in Baxley, Georgia. Well, who cares about it? If you don't care about that, not get Broxton, not Baxley, Broxton, Georgia. Broxton, Georgia, not Baxley, Broxton. Was not even having yearly audits. And the white clerk told me what I'm telling you. All those years, almost 2 decades without an audit. You hear what I say? And this is why I'm questioning, what is GMA getting paid for? When I go across the state and see all the chaotic messes that are set up, I'm asking, where are the state leaders? What is GMA teaching these people, if anything? It just don't make sense. And the News Media Association, they are a disgrace. I know I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not supposed to say that. But if you got a free press, and if you can't press truth to free the people, then in my most humble opinion, you need to go somewhere and sit down. Because you are the best newspapers, the best television station, the best radio station that money can buy. And you are not contributing to our form of government. You are seeking to destroy. Wait a minute, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm finna close, I promise you. From Broxton to Douglas with Olivia Pearson, what they did to her, and I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to show you what the deal is. Then from there to Waycross, Georgia, and the police department, I reported on that. Then leaving there, go over to Homerville with Witherspoon sitting council member got homestead exemption, white guy, homestead exemption in Florida, homestead exemption in Vallows County, Georgia, and holding office in Clinch County. And I tell you, you need to Google Homerville, Weatherspoon, and Bobby Worthy and see what the real deal is over there. But once again, very few people care about trying to perfect our nation so our children and grandchildren would have a better place to live. When your children get out of the military after 20 years or after 2 or 3 years, and they decide they want to run for public office, or they decide they want to be a social media guy and get his little credentials that's required by law, and put in a request to be in the courtroom, he may have a bullet enlarged in his spinal cord, maybe just a few millimeters away from a nerve that could paralyze him. But because he say, I want to do what needs to be done, he put in a Rule 22 request to be in the courtroom to report on the cases wherein Judge Andrew Spivey may be the judge and district attorney, may be, deciding a case or working on a case. And they tell that veteran that served his country with the bullet in his back, his spinal cord, near the nerve that, now I'm not talking about me, I'm just giving you an example. And they tell him, you didn't fill out the motion to be in the courtroom. And as if though you were that ignorant. If you were that ignorant. If I was that ignorant, the military wouldn't have kept me for 20 years in the armed forces, number one. And number two, where I worked at in the military, I can't even talk about it too much. That's why I don't talk about it. You don't get to work where I worked in the military. And I'm not a genius. I'm not a rocket scientist. But I'm a rocking chair operator. I can operate a rocking chair. And you tell me that I didn't fill out the paperwork and you didn't get it. If you didn't get it, Judge Andrew Spivey, then you need to call your district attorney in. And you need to call your clerk of court in Coffee County. And if the judge, the sitting judge in Wayne County, did not get my request, then he need to call his clerk of court in and ask them, what kind of system are you all operating there in Wayne County and Coffee County, Georgia? Because it apparently needs an overhaul. And people in the courtroom, they told me how good I stood before the judge and they appreciated me. It's not about appreciation. I thank you for it, but it's not about appreciation. It is proven to the world if Georgia and the United States of America is really a nation of laws. If it's really a nation of laws, or a pair of dirty underwear, wherein they claim one thing and do another. When they get in the public, you smell the stench. You smell the stench of an unjust justice system that needs to be overhauled. If there was anybody in the hall with a mindset to respect the European white people that set up this great republic, the best on the foundation of the earth, I believe. But these white folk that proclaim to be Christians, proclaim to love Jesus, proclaim to be the righteous, if they are not careful, they will destroy America from within without ever firing a shot. Again, I close with these words. Olivia Pearson, City Councilman, thank you for standing strong, and you do send a message to these other black folk who just plea bargain out when they know that there is a pattern and practice across the state of Georgia to suppress, intimidate, control, stop and remove blacks from office. They don't want them in positions of mayorship or chairman of their county's government, because, believe it or not, our numbers are rising And black man, if you get in those seats and in those chairs, if you don't stand up for what is right, you got an enemy with the Get Too Free Press, and you got an enemy among white folk. I'm talking about the righteous white folk. I'm not talking about those wicked folk that have sold out and become partakers in the destruction of America. Once again, Olivia Pearson, found not guilty. And you know, they had 4 or 5 charges on her. They kept dropping them, they kept dropping them, they kept dropping them until they got down to one. All those thousands, if not millions of dollars. District Attorney of Coffee County, somebody need to investigate how much money the District Attorney have hiked upon the taxpayers of Coffee County. I asked Coffee County for something that's small. Yeah, I'm not criticizing him, because I love the brother. I love him. I like that guy. He letting God use him, and that's good. I watched him in the courtroom as he gave his closing remarks yesterday, and I looked at him along with other people, and then the jury looked at him and ruled against him. I have asked him twice for something as simple as a business card. I don't make his kind of dollars, but I got a business card. I keep it in my wallet at all times. I don't care whether you are for me or against me. You ask me for a business card, guess what I do? Thank you very much. Okay. Go ahead, District Attorney. And in your spare time, read Galatians 6 and 7. Read Galatians 6 and 7. And then read Matthew 24:35. You see. Oh, you think you get away, man. People in this country, they do things and think they're going to get away. But God said, you don't have to fight the wicked. That's my fight. And I always win. I'm not talking about me. See, I don't fight. I don't have to fight. God told me, say, if I hold my peace. That's why I was respectful to the judge when he told me at the first court case with Olivia Pearson that he didn't want me to post the video. I told him that's easy for me, sir. I'm a law-abiding citizen. And in doing so, God always, without exception, God always wins, man. That's something white folk got to understand. Olivia Pearson going to say that in a video I recorded her last night. I'm going to share it with you sometime next few days. I interviewed her. The other TV station was not there. So she said, will you interview me? I said, sure, I interview you. I said, that's why I'm here. Because I believe in freedom of the press. I don't just talk about it, pressing my lips together. I don't do that. What I do is put my mouth where my heart is. And that's with the people. That's why I was there. And I was ready to stay overnight last night. Yeah, I was ready. I went to Jessup prepared to stay 3 days if necessary. Now, you all want to know because they lie on me. Now, you want to know who paid for it? Me? I had the money set aside for that? I'm going to tell you who did it. You looking at it. Y'all have a nice day. And I do it because I believe in the founding fathers of this great republic. But I do not agree with what Andrew Spivey did to me. But as you notice, I'm smiling about it. I did not agree when the district attorney couldn't even give me something as simple as a business card. The district attorney over in Coffee County can't even hand out a business card. Isn't that a shame? Can't even give out a business card. Something simple. Wait a minute. I'm talking about a little social media guy. Keep his business cards with him at all times. Because I know that the district attorney or Judge Spivey may want to ask me for my card so he can contact me, so he can make sure that I'm in the courtroom next time. Nobody asked for my business. I had one, Judge Spivey, and I keep them with me. Oh man, this thing gonna get deep for us. I know some more stuff about some other judges too. I've been holding off on them a little bit because I respect the position. But there come a time when you got to tell the truth. You got to tell the truth so you can free your own children, the people that live in your house with you. Man, you know something? When I stood before Judge Spivey yesterday, you know, if he really wanted me in the courtroom, you know what he could have said to me? He could have said the same thing that the judge said When I was in Thomas County, Georgia, the young clerk said she never got the Rule 22 request. I said, ma'am, I sent it to you and it never came back. And I faxed it to you and I got the I'm going to send this to Judge, listen, the same fax that I sent to Judge Spivey, I'm going to show you through video that I'm not lying. See, truth is powerful. See, Bible says all liars going to have their part in the lake that burneth with fire and brimstone. And so in Thomas County, when the clerk of the court said she never got it, and the judge, I told the judge I sent it, he said, well, do you have a copy of it? I said, yes, sir, I do. He said, well, let's delay this for 5 minutes, step into the clerk, and let's get it done. And I redid it. And guess where I was in Thomasville? In the courtroom. But you know why? That's because that judge did not want to suppress freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and he wanted to honor the scales and balances in the courtroom that they have most everywhere you go, represent justice and equality. But in some court cases, they want you to do what they say. And they don't want the people to know. Now, I understand. I understand why they didn't want me in the courtroom. If you were there and if you saw what took place in that courtroom, you would understand why they didn't want cameras in there. It's just like Judge Richard Porter III when he was sleeping on the stand in the KJ attorney fees. Sleeping on the stand. And the TV stations was right there. They couldn't record because he didn't want but one person in there, and that person didn't give us the information. I never heard him got WALB about violating his order because they didn't give us copies of the video as in Rule 22 by pooling the video. I never heard nobody say that he got on WLB for violating his court order. I'm talking about Judge Richard Porter. And I'm not lying on the good judge, y'all. I can't do that kind of business. I'm better than that. My grandma taught me, bye-bye, we go. This is the Get To Free Press, and we report what others ignore. This is your First Amendment right to know without whiteouts from a controlled news media whiteout network. And we are located in Valdosta, Georgia, and we are here to inform, educate, and persuade if necessary. Always keep that in mind. Moreover, I want to say to you that as a community, state, nation, and world, we are not who we claim to be, but who we prove ourselves to be over a given period of time. And if we are a liar, time will tell. And if we are a racist or a hater, time will tell. And our righteous and holy God already know. So you are only fooling yourselves. Again, the Ghetto Free Press. I'm George Boston Wright.